Um, I'm trying to remember how it first came to me, but I do remember the first time I met the director and Faye, the producer, was in Paris in a hotel room. They came down. I was doing press for August Osage County, and they came down from London to talk to me about the project. And I play a very small part in it. I have a couple of days only of work, but I play a sort of a seminal figure in the women's emancipation and suffragette movement, the British movement to get the vote. And her name was Emmeline Pankhurst. And I was very honored to be asked to be to portray this formidable person who was so interesting on so many levels and really was unafraid in a time when women were not leaders to be a leader and to take on a lot of the risk, the venom, and the real suffering that came along with it. So it was personal. I remember when I was in high school and there were, three professions. There weren't a lot of women lawyers. There were practically none. There weren't a lot of women in business. There were practically none. You could be a teacher, you could be a nurse, you could be a hooker, or an actress. And many people conflated the two. But, the opportunities were not there. In my high school, there were no sports for women. There were no sports. There were sports for boys. If you wanted to jump around, you could be a cheerleader. So I was a cheerleader. But, the changes come slowly in society. And human beings have been one way for 40,000 years. And a lot of it's changed in the last 100. So it hasn't been easy. I did read many of her speeches, with which I was not familiar. There's one tiny piece of film of her extant that is several seconds long, and that was really, really valuable because she lived at a time before people knew what it was to be photographed. Certainly, I mean, in moving pictures. To be photographed, you'd have to stay still and for a certain amount of time, and that's why everybody looks frozen. But this was a movie of her, lasting maybe 4 seconds. She just opens a curtain and walks out onto a stage and folds her hands and begins to speak. You can't hear her. There's no sound attached. But there was something really, really interesting in people who were willing to get up, who were not actresses, but to speak. Carrie Mulligan is one of my favorite people in the world, but also she's just beautiful, beautiful actress, and her spirit shines. She doesn't have to even open her mouth, but when she speaks, her voice is so gorgeous. Helena Bonham Carter is a bundle of laughs. She really, she's a great girl, but she plays a very serious woman who was trained as a chemist and operates as a pharmacist, but also secretly taking care of certain needs of the women medically that were against the law, and also an organizer of the secret rallies.